Okay, so I'd like to call to order the Bristol Energy Committee meeting on August 15th, 2018. First order of business is scheduled appointments, of which we have none. And so let's jump in. So I sent the minutes that Sally created from the previous meeting. I sent that as a PDF to the members. Any comments or questions regarding the notes that she wrote up? Were there any changes that you had? Okay.
Read through it quickly.
If there's no changes, we'll make those official and I can post them on the town website. So that's good. We'll go to current business. Electric vehicle supply equipment, the EVSE grant program through the state. That still hasn't been officially announced yet. We know some details about it. Obviously, we've been talking about it the last few months. I got in touch with, let me just take a look here, remind myself, with David, what's his name? Sorry.
Northeast Distributor?
No, it was who we'd worked with before. 5 years ago, sort of working on getting charging stations in Bristol. David Roberts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
So he's part of Drive Electric Vermont. And so I emailed him just to sort of get some details. His response was just that they're still waiting on the announcement to be official from the state on how to use the funds. I don't know why it's taking this long. And so
public comments.
Huh?
Public comments.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he's still waiting on an announcement. Latest word is the program likely to launch sometime in September with applications due in November. So that gives us still a good amount of time to put together our proposal. David said that they're likely to be looking for a 10% match from municipal applicants, even though that's not what I was told from the state. So I don't know if his information is outdated.
10% for the equipment or 10% for the ongoing expenses?
Equipment, in terms of the install. And what we'd heard previously was that it was going to be 100% paid, everything. Maintenance would be an additional cost.
The Green Mountain Power's been giving these away.
Right. So that's where the 100% comes in terms of the units. And I was sort of asking at different prices for the level 2 chargers, which is sort of more standard and less expensive, and the fast charge systems, which are very expensive. He talked about $8,000 for like a dual port charger, because we were looking at maybe 3 spaces for cars to be parked at, and $8,000 for that, and then he was sort of up to $50,000 for a fast charger. So I don't know. Gary at the state said to have a mix is nice, but other people I've talked to, including Dave, it seems like people aren't pushing for those fast charge units. It's a certain small percentage of cars that can use them.
Raises havoc with the longevity of the batteries.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
And as I've been reading, it seems that the majority of people who pull up to a charging station are topping off.
Right, that's true.
Right. So we're not really looking at people who are just pushing the car into the charging station.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And
although I've done that.
Right.
To a gas station.
Right. I mean, the idea of getting like a mix was just then you accommodate as many people as possible in town.
Who would pay for the ongoing energy costs?
Well, you would have a choice. You could you set up a system where the user uses their credit card, and that could go to Green Mountain Power directly, I think. Or you'd set it up where the town is covering those costs and then get reimbursed at the end of a year through Green Mountain Power. That's how we were going to set it up previously. And then within both of those scenarios, I think you can add a certain percentage on for a service fee that the town can use to be able to cover the maintenance costs. And I think most of these charging systems have that anyway, and EV users already know that and expect, I mean, not if it's like a 50%, service fee or whatever, but if it's a small percentage, just for the ability to use this item in Bristol, and it helps pay for the ongoing maintenance. Dave was he was quoting me, where were his quotes there? Conservative estimate about $400 a year for maintenance of the simple charging systems. And then you've got another $255 for networking services, and it has to be networked so that's how it's going to be monitored, as opposed to completely standalone. So there are some annual costs that are involved. I think, according to talking to Gary Holloway at the state, it seems like some of those charges might be able to be worked in to the cost of the overall system, for a year. Maybe you do it for a 5-year kind of thing, since they're going to be covering the cost 100%. So we might as well just try to push for as much as possible. But I think if we have a good idea of the costs involved, then we know, instead of saying like, oh, we'll cover the service costs and then have them come out to be, $1,000 a year, and we're unable to cover that. You could put it in the town budget, but it'd be nice to have a way to be able to have that money raised either from the service fee or have it be covered by the grant. And that's all predicated on us getting the grant, of course. So
Yeah, as it gets closer, more of the choices. The credit card charge for use, to me, has a certain appeal. It's still cheaper than gas.
right,
And like that, most people would just be a topping off their system. It wouldn't
Right.
be a full.
yeah,
2 or
sitting
3
there for
hour,
hours, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm late.
Charge,
Makes me feel
especially
important.
for
Just
the slow
started.
charging.
Okay.
For you.
Yeah, Dave said in his email, he says, I'm not sure I'd suggest you pursue ownership of a DC fast charger.
charge
At this
stations.
point, the equipment cost is around $35,000 for a 50 kilowatt unit. There are some options for higher power for faster charging that are over $100,000, but 50 kilowatt would likely be fine for now. There are also significantly higher install costs, especially if you're not in direct proximity to three-phase power, which he knew that we weren't when we were looking at placement 5 years ago.
Why would they want 3-phase power?
For the DC fast charger, you need three-phase.
Faster.
Yeah. But for the level 2 charging, you don't. So that's probably what we would do. And like you said, it's not, I was thinking like, oh, you're gonna have someone coming in that, oh, I'm not gonna wait, 3 hours to charge up. But like you said, the most likely scenario is that they're not gonna wait 3 hours anyway. They're gonna top up and it's gonna be a half an hour, and that's fine, and they're full, and
Yeah, they're done.
they've spent some time, or it's, an hour, they spent some time and they're off.
60-70%.
Right. Yeah. And it would only be certain scenarios that might be like, oh, I'm almost out of a charge. Oh, I've got to stay here now for 3 hours if I want that full charge, or enough to get me home. So it's probably going to be fine, I think.
And luckily, if they did that, they could just get as far as Middlebury or the
Right.
next. It's not that so far away
Right.
for a
And
good
yeah,
job.
Middlebury has a DC charge
I was
system.
gonna say, eventually you're gonna start seeing these as a network.
Right.
People can-
Yeah.
And a little chart that might tell people if you need to really recharge from zero.
Right.
Middlebury is 13 miles away.
Yeah. Enough to get there. The whole idea of this is sort of that it's close enough to downtown to Main Street that you would park and go off for, at minimum maybe a half an hour, be able to get some food, or hopefully more, get some food, and then come back and you've got the charge that you need for your car, and then you can head on to your next destination. So it seems more likely that we'll probably pursue the level 2 and maybe one unit, which is the dual port, and then a third for 3 parking spaces. And we have, if for people who don't know, we've discussed parking at the edge of the green on East Street,
West Street.
Where the Peace Garden is. It would be the 3 spaces right there. Those are sort of the least used spaces around the town, and it gives us the most sort of flexibility with usage, as well as not being directly located on the park. We have the ability to put some infrastructure there to be able to hold these. The level 2 chargers are far less infrastructure needed to actually attach them. The 3-phase DC ones are kind of bigger units. So that all helps in terms of like having it look nice. We can design something that fits together. And one of the stipulations, at least we think until it's officially released, is that they need to be permanently EV charging spaces. So that's not gonna, hopefully upset too many people given the amount of parking around the green anyway.
That would improve traffic safety there, because typically, if you go around the park, getting out there, when there's trucks parked there on the corner, you can't see.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so having those spaces,
So having little
most of the
areas.
time will be open, yeah.
Or
Or
short cars.
little
Right,
EVs.
that's right.
Yeah.
Till we got our EV trucks.
Yeah, and the semis come up.
Right.
So we really have until maybe September to
Yes.
submit a proposal.
Yeah.
With cover letters from people, yes,
Yes.
yes, good.
Yeah.
So we
Um,
do need to get that done, probably, you know,
Correct.
maybe before our next meeting.
Yes, I'll be working on that. What I'll do is I'm gonna write up the proposal, and maybe I'll work with you, John, on some of the language for that. Just, it'll be an internal one before we get the official forms that we're gonna need to fill out for the grant, just so we can get a package together and have everything we need. I need to reach out to Green Mountain Power and just ask about getting power to that location, since there isn't power there now. But it's not gonna be, if we don't need three-phase, they can just bring it across from one of the poles down the way. Or one of the ideas was running it possibly underground from a pole, so we don't have to put in another pole, which I like that idea. There is a tree right there in between a couple of the parking spaces in terms of on the green area, so we need to figure out if we're putting in entrenching, we don't want to affect that. So that might mean moving the spaces down a bit, but I'm hoping we can use those three there and get around that with, since it's minimal kind of infrastructure that needs to be put there, then I'm hoping it won't
Can
affect
those
the tree.
directional drillers kind of go around
Probably,
it?
yeah.
You know, it's like wind its way
Yeah.
through
There's
tree
a-
root system without,
Across the street at St. Ambrose Church, in their parking area along Park Street, there is a pole. So possibly they could pull from that, go underground, and run it over to where we need it. But I need to make that call and just sort of talk to them about that and see what they think. But there's no other area that we've looked at that we're considering. So this is our main one, and hopefully it'll be
You don't think on the back of the park would?
it's too close to the actual park, and it's going to interfere with the ordinance that the select board put on the park in terms of taking things off the park and putting things on the park. This one, at least we have the green space on the other side of the sidewalk to be able to give us our buffer zone, like, okay, though it's on the park, what you're going to
It's
see
not-
are these units
not on the park.
that's right, that it's in the green space. So I think that all works in a positive way for the project. Minimal distance in terms of power getting there. If we're not using three-phase, that makes it even simpler.
Yeah.
The level 2 charges are smaller units. We can design something that they can be attached to. You know, most people sort of are doing 6x6 posts that are in the ground, which is fairly simple. Maybe we want to do something where it's nicer and capped with something, and so it has a nice uniform kind of look. And then, yeah, just working out, choosing what units we might want to put in there. A bunch of different companies make them now. ChargePoint is one of the ones, and they've actually reached out. They emailed Valerie, knowing that this grant was coming up, saying, "Oh, hey, you know, why don't you work with us?" And I guess other towns have worked with them, so they seem like a legit company. And I've seen them in Middlebury and in Waterbury, I think, uses them. So, and we'll see what Green Mountain Power, if they have suggestions of what their units they're using. The one stipulation is that it needs to be networked, so they're slightly more expensive units to have that technology to wirelessly connect. And we have internet right on the green in terms of a strong wireless connection that we can make secure, so those can be connected. So everything is kind of in place for this, which is nice. We just have to write it up.
yeah.
There,
Yeah.
Yep.
there was talk in one of the memos about maybe having subcommittees to work on a certain project. Is it a moment in time where we might
Sure.
identify a subcommittee?
Yeah.
Because this is a really
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah,
project.
this is, and the one has to be done immediately.
Right. Right.
Well, the other ones kind of do too, but.
Yeah.
I do have Richard Butts' number here, if we want to give him a call, because he's kind of a leader of one of the things on the agenda. It would be
Right.
great to have him here.
Let's see if anybody's. has my email.
I think he told me earlier, or yesterday, he would be here, so
All right.
it's kind of interesting.
I mean, it could be a combination of things. People thinking it's 7:30 versus 7, and then the location. So
Oh, yeah, I went over
there's,
yonder.
there's two changes
Yeah.
that are affecting
I
this
think-
meeting. I
Would
mean, it's
anyone-
7:30 now, so we
Yeah.
could wait to see if, hopefully they come over. If they think it's no, it's the library, but think it's 7:30.
Right.
Okay.
Do you want to, let's see here. So that was electric vehicle. So yeah, Richard was going to talk the Button Up Hero program that we're going to be working with Efficiency Vermont on.
I think that talking about what you were just saying, John, once we see what all the different things are, maybe then we can, or did you want to just say, hey, does anyone want to be on this committee? Is that what you were thinking of, on this subcommittee?
Well, I know we're gonna be discussing this in the next meeting.
Right.
So that's part one. So at some point in time, people can say, I'm really gravitating towards that, and here's how I can help. So maybe
Yeah.
we can put that on hold for a while to identify a subcommittee.
Okay,
I mean, I'm fine with talking about it now.
okay, as far
I mean,
as,
so I'm driving that particular thing,
okay,
only because I was involved last time. And obviously this came from some of the discussions that we initially had, or you had with
But I
the,
have to be a part of the subcommittee.
right,
Okay.
right. How many people do we need in terms of putting it together? I think the initial proposal just perhaps could be you and I.
I think it's tasks that would identify the
Okay.
persons who want to work. See, I'd like to do outreach
Okay,
and find out who in Bristol area has an electric vehicle, and they would say, definitely, put me out right away.
okay,
You know, and then even Fred Baser, you know, he might write a letter as well.
Right.
So-
okay,
So let's just keep it rolling.
okay,
okay, so John on outreach,
yeah,
Outreach, okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
and Ian,
Uh,
you're,
I guess I'm the head of that committee.
You're technical.
I'm technical, but I need some help writing, because I ain't no
Yep.
good at writing.
yep.
Are you good at writing, Sally?
I'm afraid I'm not, really.
We wrote that other grant, or you did.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, and with a lot of help. Yeah. Again, only because I knew the people. I was
Right.
that kind of person, but not the writer.
Who can write?
I might be able to suck a professional grant writer into it.
Well,
I think
I know one of those people.
Uh-huh, you're right.
Hey, Richard.
Hello.
Great. Welcome.
Perfect time.
Great. That's unusual. Nobody's sitting in that?
Oh,
I know,
isn't that
that's so
beauty?
comfortable.
We've been waiting for you.
Well,
When we,
that's a
when we,
good
when we would do
Yeah,
the
I
film
know.
screenings, that would be the
Crazy that we-
first chair to go.
I stop at welcome centers just to sit in these chairs.
Yeah, really. I've done that too.
Okay, so we've discussed the electric vehicle program, and now that Richard's here, let's talk about the Button Up Hero program and what our next stages are going to be.
Nothing like jumping right in, huh, Richard?
Yeah. So essentially, the Button Up Hero program would incentive us, or you could say require us, to have a kickoff event and then engage in at least one additional outreach activity, which is really no reach for us at all.
Right.
We should, if we decide we want to do this tonight, we should sign up right away. Let me pass this around and make copies. This is hot off the press. This is the description of the program for community partners, and then on the back is what's most helpful. It's a timeline, which really simplifies things for us.
Thank you.
Any more of them? Oh, thanks.
So if you look at the back, essentially, we are in a stage of community partner application process, which just opened,
Okay.
and that would be the next step. And then they contact contractors. We agree to have an event. I'm suggesting that somewhere late October, during the week, we have an event at Holly Hall in which the contractors come in, do the demonstrations and so on, that they're going to do blower door, maybe even have some equipment there that people can look at. We can work on that. That would be kind of the big event that we would be sponsoring. But prior to that, we have an information table at the Harvest Festival in which we lay out for people the walkthrough process with contractors and try to get some people signed up so that when we get to the event with the contractors in Holly Hall, we can get people to sign on the bottom line with a specific contractor, and then there is a prize that they're going to be offering for the family that signs up. So this lays it out pretty well, it seems to me.
When you say a kickoff event, is that the Holly Hall or is
Yeah.
the Harvest Fest? Okay, so the
Well-
kickoff event doesn't have to be first and second,
Right.
or, okay,
Right.
great,
Yeah, we're signed up for the Harvest Fest. We have a table.
great.
I picked one that's number 27, I think, and it's near the playground. So it's along the sidewalk or the path through.
great.
I thought that was a better position than doing, because there's 74 vendor spots,
Yeah.
or something similar to that.
Access deeper in is hard.
Yes, and I was thinking, like, if we're kind of mixed in, like how many people are walking through and looking at every one, like we could be missed. Whereas if you're walking through, the amount of kids that might be at the playground there, I figure right on the path is
Yeah.
going to be a much better place. Even if we're further up and at the top there, there weren't many spots left just because it was filling up kind of quickly.
Yeah.
And it's a BEC booth.
Correct.
Right, good.
Yeah, Bristol Core paid for it.
Oh,
That's cool.
nice.
Thank you,
Be-
Bristol
be-
Core.
because I don't know what our budget is, so, or even if we have a budget. So Bristol Core might pay for that, and maybe might be reimbursed by the town if we have like $100 that we can spend each year, because we had to pay for it. I tried not to pay for it, but the Chamber of Commerce were insistent. Well, we're a town department, and
Totally.
it's a co-production. This event is a co-production with the town, but it's kind of with the rec department. They have their table. So, but Meredith does say that she has space, but we have our own one now, so
Good.
I think it's
I
fine.
have a farmer's market tent
Okay,
and
great.
tables that
Okay.
we can use.
Yeah, I have a tent as well if we
Okay.
for some reason need to, or if
Yeah.
you can't find yours or
All
whatever.
right,
And what I'm going to do is I'm working on, I'd like for us to have some sort of visual logo presence. So I'm kind of working on a design for that.
Neat.
It's kind of the bigger idea is, can we, instead of having all the town departments be just random kind of logos that people have made over the years, which I don't think any department really has a logo. I'm trying to think of, like, is there a cohesive thing that we can that I can make that's simple that could be applied to each of the departments with
That'd be
some
neat.
slight changes,
Yeah.
just so there's some sort of design aesthetic to the town. It doesn't have that at the moment, so I'm working on that. So hopefully, I need to spend some time on that, and we can do a banner or something like that, have that made, and make it so it's a
BEC,
little more.
less is more.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll paint that
I
up
like
right
it.
away.
So yeah, so I'm working on that, and so we'll need to decide how many people we need there, and then what information. We have blank tables at the moment. What are we putting on those tables?
Yeah, we'll.
And a
work
printing
with
budget?
Go ahead.
Pardon me?
A printing budget for,
Well,
have to work on that, okay.
I can
We
coordinate
can
some of that
apply,
stuff.
we can apply for grants
Right.
as part of this process, so we might want to
Very good.
think about that. I don't know, maybe Ian and I could work on
Yeah.
that, and,
Efficiency Vermont has a lot of material.
yeah,
Bulbs,
Yeah.
free bulbs. and that-
Bulbs,
Yeah, exactly.
Print,
Yeah.
print
Yeah,
materials.
excellent, excellent.
But we need to have something outside of the stuff that we can get, which hopefully is some. We need to have our own sort of something that we can present that shows that it's from this committee, who they can contact, and what we're working on.
Right.
At the moment, we're still trying to figure all of that out.
Right, that goes,
Um, and I'm trying to work on the web page on the town to sort of detail the projects that we're working on. This particular thing, because we're sort of focused on the button up, I guess it's more centered towards that. And I guess
Yeah,
if
yeah.
Efficiency Vermont is doing that, maybe we can use more of those materials. But it would be nice to have something, you know, on this group and who people could read. So if it's just walking by, if they don't care about the button up, at least they can take something with them. And if they want to contact the Energy Committee.
Yeah. I do think that we really should focus on the button up, though. I think that is,
Okay.
and that is just something that the Energy Committee is doing. We don't have to say all about what we're all about. We're just
Okay.
like, this is our project right now. I think we need to really put our energy into that to make it really happen well.
Okay.
Well, there
And,
should be
you
some little brochure or something where you list all the
Right.
available programs, and
I guess,
that
yeah.
would be on BEC
I guess we could-
letterhead.
I've got all that stuff.
Yeah, he's,
Okay.
that's what
And
he's working on.
Paul's gonna help, and
Good.
Okay, so
We'll
they,
probably have more stuff than we actually want.
Yeah, that's the trick. You don't want to have too much.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking, if we can locate some of us, I'm willing, and I see if Bob Donis is, to do a Bristol residence experience with weatherization.
I would love to be a part of that.
Okay, okay.
Definitely. Yeah, case.
A couple of case studies, nothing fancy, but our experience and what we've, you know, what we got out of it. So we did it in my house. We had the audit. We did the perimeter insulation, the attic. We had some problems that were solved. You know, that kind of story, kind of a story with some pictures.
okay. Bob sent his. Did everyone get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So we
where's
could,
Bob's?
we,
Incredibly.
we can take that and we can shape that into a nice little
'Cause they-
leaflet.
They have a contact. They
You
can
want to
say,
write up similar?
Come
Okay,
see
so
me.
there's two.
Yeah.
Who else do we
Keep your
know
pellets to-
who's done this?
Yeah, we've got, I can get some people through Matt.
Okay.
You know, we've done some, you know, talking about tours and stuff like that. He has a list of who's done everything
great.
in Bristol, so talk to Matt.
Timeline, Harvest Festival is,
September 22nd.
wow, that's, yeah,
So
Yeah,
we're cranking.
About 20 minutes.
That's right. Good.
we can work these things out, I think, pretty well with stuff that's available.
Yeah, now that we have Bob's write-up, I can put that into something that looks nice.
Yeah.
And
Just
then,
send you some pictures?
yeah,
Good.
we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have pictures from him, I just have his write-up, but we can.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you said you talked to Matt to get some more? I mean,
I haven't
is
yet, but
anybody
I
just
will.
off the top of our heads
I just wrote
who
that.
are in Bristol that have done the weatherization?
Yes, right. Like we did a tour of Betsy Almeida's house and,
Okay.
and learned about that and.
So she's done it, similar to Bob's and similar to Richard's?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. There are a number of people who've done it. So it's just a matter of going and having a conversation with them and seeing if they would be up for writing it up or not, or
Okay.
even being there on Harvest Day. And, you know, we could have a, I don't know if they'd be up for that, but I think that
Who else, do you know off the top of your head, who else that might be? Betsy?
Mark Gibson and Allie, they did a lot in their basement.
Yeah, and varied stories too. It seems like
Yeah.
Bob and Richard's is kind of similar, the amount of work you did, but having something where it was, yeah, if it was sort of basement focused might be good to give people, you know, maybe 5 case studies, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we've got, I don't know, do you remember the extent of what Betsy did?
Yeah, like a cold climate heat pump water heater.
Okay.
And a heat pump and a pellet stove and some insulation.
Okay. Yeah, see that?
You know, and it was quite a part of their renovation too. Some of the new
Okay.
windows, you know, so it was a little.
But that's
wasn't-
okay. I mean, a renovation's good too, because that's another angle that we can sort
Yeah.
of
Built that
show.
whole house.
And we got calls from people who said, "Oh, we'll show you our solar panels that we got on our roof." Like Mark has, I don't know, 36 panels around his house and all different things, standing things on a shed on this old roof, you know, things like that, and an EV
Okay.
Nice.
charging station at his house. A lot of
You can
variety.
sell electricity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, case studies. So, yeah, talking about that, you know, little group, subgroup thing, I
Testimonial.
definitely am on board with this
Our
one.
testimonial of
Kathy
success of
Smith,
these things
yeah.
is really
Heat pump
powerful.
in their house,
Yeah,
the big one.
and,
Okay.
and Wendy Wilson does.
And the things too to mention, like with a hot water heater, we put in a hybrid, shut off our oil burner in the winter, in the summer. Oh, man, that used to drive me nuts. Anything going on in the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Just-
found we had a propane heater in the house, and the exhaust vent fan drew more energy than the hybrid water heater.
Oh, that's cool. So write that up.
Yeah.
Just an
we wanna-
anecdote,
we wanna
even
know.
We
anecdotes.
talk with people every day that are doing this.
Yeah, maybe a page of,
Yeah.
just paragraphs too.
Anecdotal, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be great.
The confusion on the manufacturer's specifications on things like hybrid water heaters and heat pumps, so far we've never seen a situation where the usage is proven to be even close to what they say they will be. We create a solar system and say, okay, they're putting in this brand of this system, and the specs say it will use this, and we have never seen a situation where the usage comes close.
Really?
And it's kind of a gray area. It's hard to definitively say, manufacturer says this, and we have people that are experiencing 30 or 40% less than that usage. And it makes it kind of hard to estimate a project for someone.
Yeah, hot water is so subjective and personal. I mean, every household, everybody uses it different at different times of day.
Hybrid water heaters are just stupid cheap to own.
And we've got one.
They do.
Yeah.
They're just ridiculous how much. I mean,
You mean they're
we
great.
Have, we have two of them. We
Yeah.
have another one in our shop, in our apartment above the shop, and it was an obvious $40 difference a month.
Yeah, that's
So
great. That's a big savings. Yeah.
That's real money for some of us.
Okay, so Harvest Festival seems like we're moving closer to that. We have an idea what we want to do. Table, it's on the table, case studies.
Yeah.
What's next after that? That's going to be the event,
The Holly
right?
Hall event.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask another question about this Harvest Fest. Are we going to have had a training before that, do you think? Like the training we talked about with Markowitz for becoming walkthrough people or energy home visit people?
My understanding is what we're selling in this first thing is the contractor's walkthrough, not us.
Right.
Okay,
Okay?
okay, so we're, okay.
Because it's part of this program.
Yeah.
I think if it was something where it was the Energy Committee and we were just doing our own program, I think that's where that would come into play.
Okay.
Because we're signing up in the HERO program,
Yeah.
which sort of gets us the access to the contractors,
Yeah.
because there's not a guarantee, but there seems a higher likelihood that they would be hired
Yeah.
after doing the free walkthrough of houses.
Yes.
That's the idea. We're sort of trying to, get people interested, and then we now have the connections through Efficiency Vermont and their list of local contractors who've agreed to sign on to do that.
It boosts the conversion rate
Right.
Yes,
from interest to implementation.
yes.
Right.
So do you think we will have contractors at the Harvest Fest at all? A contractor, anyone, do you think anyone would even want to do that?
I don't know. We would have to find out from Paul
So that people could
who has
ask
signed
questions?
up. Like when they put the call out, which is the call for interested. Where is it? Well, there's community partners. That's kind of different than their
Well, the
contract.
call for contractors for this is to do the button-up presentation.
Right.
Right.
I can sit at the table, I can play the contractor.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
That is
Hard
awesome,
hat.
Liston.
Okay. So that's good. Yeah, if people have specific questions.
Excellent.
I've been doing it since '78, I
Right.
can probably answer a couple of questions.
That's
One
great,
or two,
Liston.
depending on how hot Harvest Festival is.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be nice.
Excellent.
So there's finance. Now I can jump, see, this is where I can start jumping in now.
What do you think about the week of the October 23rd? That's a Tuesday, 24th, 25th for the Holly Hall button up. Just think the sooner we sign it up or
Yeah,
let Markowitz know, the better,
Yeah.
and get Holly Hall.
Let's take a look. What time of day?
Evening,
Okay.
It's a Tuesday?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday during that week.
Yeah.
We're free of Halloween, and
Yeah.
that's the next week.
Maybe the Wednesday. What day is
Full
it?
moon, that's supposed to be a powerful time to bring people together.
Sounds good to me.
Wednesday, there's going to be a kids play group in there from 9:30 to 11:30 that I run. But in the evening, it's at the
We'll just
moment.
clean up after that.
Does that happen to be your meeting, Jake?
No, that's the previous week.
But isn't Wednesday, Wednesday's out because it's tap dancing?
Ah,
Maybe not in
good
October.
point.
Well, I'll find out.
I don't know.
I'm not sure how long. I don't know if it's just. I assume it's just a summer thing.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'll check. So I will. So we thinking October 24th?
Fine with me.
I mean, is there one day that's better than other psychologically in terms of like
Like I
a
said-
Thursday is a much better to grab
No.
people to go into?
No,
you know,
I think full moon is.
full moon. You're gonna use the full moon thing.
Yeah. I know you think it's crazy, but that's your guy.
I don't know. I take issue with that.
Okay, sorry.
So, so the 24th. I will ask. So, what are we calling this? Do we have an official
This will be the
name?
Button Up Vermont.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Button
Yeah.
up. But is it
They're
a
gonna be Button Up Bristol.
Button up Bristol.
Yeah.
button up Bristol?
Sure.
All right.
Button Up Vermont comes to Bristol, so it sounds like it's a big deal,
Yeah.
and it's coming to Bristol.
Yeah.
And we want to get the 5 towns involved too, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And then we'll talk, we'll figure out the rest of that.
so we've got event.
The greater Bristol metropolitan area will be hosting.
So event. We're gonna call it Button Up Bristol.
But if you're trying to get the 5 towns.
Yeah, I think we should
maybe
call it
it
Button Up
shouldn't be
Vermont.
first.
Button Up Bristol and others.
Button Up Vermont comes Bristol. I think we should call it for
Button
what
Up
it is.
Bristol et
You know,
al.
because it's
It is
a,
called
then people
Button
can
Up
look it up,
Vermont.
Button
Yeah.
Up Vermont. It's
Okay.
it's a program we're bringing.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not making, sounds like we're making it up, you know, hey, we're all just getting together to talk about what is it.
It's better
You
than
know, this is big time.
We're just making it up. All right. So,
Won't be the first time.
so TBD October 24th, 7 p.m. Earlier.
Right, we're getting into darkness.
That's right. It's gonna be dark out there. 6:30. I guess 7's probably better.
It's an even number. Goes with the full moon.
Yeah, if we had food, that would be something to come early to, but it's probably not where we're going, you think? Or is that a way to get?
Cookies or something.
Yeah, we can have something.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do more than just cookies.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do like soups
Right.
or something, or, you know, some kind of, just something that people.
Something
can-
that you can.
Something
Well-
you can walk around with.
That's right.
Yeah.
I make a dynamite chocolate chip cookie.
Done.
You're
Sold.
Does that require 2 hands?
My wife will have.
Okay.
We can have some-
You know what you should do?
Yeah.
Bring them to our next meeting so we can test them out.
That's
Yeah, I
true.
think you gotta prove it.
Yeah, I think so.
That's gonna cost you.
I'll pay for a good chocolate chip.
Yeah, exactly. So what do we, okay, so we've got the title, we've got a tentative time and date. What do we imagine this looks like? I walk in the door, what do I see?
I would hope you see a blower door set
Okay.
up, even if we have to mock it up.
Testing Holy Hollow, we'll see how bored it is. Okay,
A blower door, I'd like to see some, some heat pump
okay,
units, maybe, it'd be a lot to ask to bring in a hybrid hot water heater, but it'd be great.
okay,
But we're really talking about weatherization in this.
okay.
When you're talking about something when they come in and they sit down and they see a PowerPoint presentation,
Yeah,
you're getting kind of like, almost like a little mini trade show, and you start bringing in a heat pump and.
Yeah,
It'd be nice though for people don't have a clue.
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I
really
know.
don't.
I'm
Yeah,
kind
it would
of
be
wrestling
nice.
with that, maybe.
If we can do it Should we do it? I mean, if we get
Does
some,
Energy Vermont have a PowerPoint presentation
Yeah.
we could use?
yeah, they'll do the whole thing.
Efficiency Vermont.
Efficiency
Yeah.
Vermont, yeah.
Will they bring the actual technology, or is that up
I
to
don't know, I'll
us?
talk to Paul
Okay,
about it. That's,
It's kind of up to the contractors, they sign up for.
right, they might be able to do
That's a really important point that you bring up. And I mean, walking in the door, people can be led around to whatever,
Yeah,
or they can be excited about something they first see. And I wonder if we all have ideas when we walk out of here, we could send them to you
yeah.
and say, this could be a door opener.
okay.
Good.
I mean,
Tester.
when I went to the Vermont Gas open house they did over at the Legion, it was a similar thing. They had 5 or 6 tables set up, and they had it broken down into different sections. So you had the area where you actually saw 2 different sizes of pipes and what the meter looks like, and you had a person there speaking directly to the units that would fit on an oil heater or a gas heater, and the conversion. They had the area that was more marketing sort of focused. They had the area that was in terms of signing up. So we should take a leaf out of that in terms of they brought in the stuff to show it off, and it was interesting just to see all that right there and be able to see how big the pipe is and what.
Totally.
So I think you're right. I think having as much stuff there, even examples of insulation,
Yep.
would be kind of nice. Like everything that might be covered in the weatherization. Let's see if we can get example of. I mean, we'll have a big hall to fill, and so having it
Yeah,
lined
some
around the
tables.
outside with all those kind of things.
That's great. Some hands-on
Is,
stuff.
yeah, is going to be
I mean, I've got all the equipment.
okay.
Do you have a blower door?
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
gosh,
Oh,
bring it
listen,
in.
you are coming to the
Yeah.
party.
Just back your truck up.
Should we mock-
Unload
should
it
we-
all into the
Should we
hall.
mock up a doorway so it can be right in the room?
sure,
Okay, I'll do
Could we not
that.
use a doorway?
What?
Should we not?
use a door.
We could use a doorway there.
The one on the right as you go in?
That's Meredith's office. There's
No,
also
no, on the right.
But it could be, we could pass
As
it.
you
that's
go
a
in.
bathroom.
No, I'm thinking into the main.
Yeah.
I guess
Oh, one of the 2 doors that you enter into the hall.
we might not be able to block it because of fire code.
Oh, right. But what we can do is there's the one at the back, which is the equipment closet.
Yeah, I think
We
that's.
could do
that
that.
sounds great.
It depends on what you want to see. You'd have a mock-up if you wanted to walk around it and see both sides of it. If it just has to be in a doorway and you can demonstrate it, the limitation with that is that it's at the far right at the back.
Yeah.
I'd like it standing right there if we make it
Yeah.
just a freestanding
Sure.
doorway.
How big is it? Is it adjustable in terms of width and height?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So could we put it in one of the 2 sets of swing doors that enter into the hall? If you go into the main door and you're going to go on the left side, could you put it in the right one and have it set up there?
maybe, but sometimes when you do that, when you crank it up, it kind of flies out of the opening.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to do
Right.
anything embarrassing.
Okay. We can figure
We
it out.
can figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
Let's stay in fashion.
we can, you know,
So what else? So we've got blower door. We have,
combustion efficiency testing.
okay.
We got the insulation blowing machine, but we're not pumping that in there.
Can you get examples of insulation?
We'll bring a bag of cellulose,
Okay.
rigid,
Yeah.
sure,
Great.
Blow some foam into something.
foam gun.
Probably, yeah. I mean, just,
Cellar wall insulation.
yeah. Which I guess is, well, depending on what you use, it might be foam, right? For a cellar wall, or do you do,
Just spray almost like latex, but thick.
right?
Yeah. I mean, a couple of houses have been done here. Jim, the dentist, had
Yeah.
his, McLean did it.
Oh, okay.
And he said, thank God. It really made a huge difference.
Do we have to, with regard to the contractors, if we want to have contractors there, because that's going to be beneficial to them, do we have to use, I guess we have to use, all right, let me back up. We have a lot of good contractors right in Bristol.
Right.
I guess we need to find out if they're going to be contacted by Efficiency Vermont to cover Bristol. Because if it's Smith and McLean or
They have to be on efficiency remarks. list. They have to be participating contractors.
Okay.
Good, yes.
Because they have to be certified, BPI certified and all
Okay.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I guess we just need to, we should find out
As
who,
local as possible.
yeah, local, who they sign up, and then if it is Smith McLean or similar, we just invite, we can talk to them directly, I know them.
You
And
can
so
go
we
on
can
the
invite them
Efficiency
in.
Vermont site and hit the
Okay.
zip code and you'll get a list
Oh,
of
okay,
the contractors.
okay, great.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, they're gonna be looking at as local as possible when they're getting people to sign up, because there's more investment in that.
But I know there's some in, Richmond, Lincoln,
Right.
Harrisburg.
Okay. And would Efficiency Vermont, would they have their list, let's say we know that list, great, Smith and McLean, other people we know are on it. Are they inviting them to the event, or is that something that we would do?
They
or-
do that.
Okay, okay.
But we can suggest, certainly.
Yeah, okay. All right, anything else? So we've got our physical things that people can see and touch and smell. What are we doing in terms of like the PowerPoint? Is that just something that's happening in the background that you just can look at, stop at, read, look at some slides, read some text? Is it a sit-down kind of thing where everyone's stopping and
Everyone stops
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
goes through it. 'Cause
Right.
The contractor leading it will use the PowerPoint slides
Okay.
and then it's a narrative and then you answer questions and
Okay.
things pop up.
so is it first like a little mixer kind of thing,
Yeah.
talking to the people, and then it's like, okay, at
Everybody sits
7:30 or
down.
at 7:45, it's a sit-down?
You
Okay.
go through the thing, try to get
Yeah.
try to engage folks and get them to
Yeah.
start asking questions. Once that starts, you're pretty much off and running.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets really
Question.
interesting that way. People get to
What would
ask
be-
their questions.
Yeah, it gets real specific
Yeah.
and general and everything
Yeah.
fits
Okay.
into everything. It's really quite
It is,
remarkable.
it is awesome.
How many hours from door open to door closed?
I would say 2 at the most.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Um,
say 2 at the least.
Yeah, I was too.
Unless there's food.
That
Go-
would be good.
If you want
Yeah.
to have people come in and mix it up a little bit and sit down, do the thing, you're gonna spend 2 hours.
Yeah, I think that it should be
And
maybe,
if you put any stuff to play with,
Uh-huh.
it's gonna go longer.
Good.
maybe we could have people come earlier to, if they want to play with stuff, have some food or something like that, and then the presentation starts at 7 and it's going to be about a
Doors
2 hour.
open at 6:30 or
Yeah, something like that.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, presentation starts at 7.
Rebar.
And you need somebody pretty social to be kind of like a greeter to ice break
Yeah,
when people first come in and start going around. There's somebody to say hi to them or something.
I might be up for that. I like that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We'll wrap you in R30.
That'd be funny. You could be Miss Insulation.
Yep.
Any other suggestions for the event?
One suggestion is to have a little healthy food there too. So maybe I'll be on that one too.
But you're gonna do soup.
Something, maybe, like you said, maybe
Finger
soup
food.
isn't the greatest, but, maybe something where they could just hold something. I'm not really sure what it could be. At that time of year, I'll just have to kind of feel it out, what would be good that
Yeah.
would be easy or,
So it's easy, you can pick up, you can walk around.
yeah, yeah,
Hopefully not spill everywhere.
right,
I mean, soup is nice, because it might be cold then.
yeah,
Chili. Vegetarian chili.
yeah.
That does sound good.
But you're not competing with my chocolate chip cookies.
No, this is gonna be like autoimmune paleo.
Okay, but something edible that people are gonna want to eat.
Does that mean food?
Right.
Good. That's some insulation that we're gonna be using.
Cellulosic biomass.
Yeah. Okay, any other,
I think
okay,
we're good.
so looking at our grand list here. So if we're doing that in October, we've got a few things. So contractor participation deadline. this is all efficiency from on their side, right?
Right.
Contractors matched up with participating communities. Weatherized sign-up begins for residents and participating communities. So that's gonna be before our event. We're gonna have to do that later on, right?
I would think we
Sign
would,
ups would start at the button up,
at
wouldn't
the, yeah,
At our event, or at
Yeah.
our Bristol, at the Harvest Festival.
it? Both.
Okay.
And so you're
Yeah.
saying these are people signing up to say, yeah, I'd like an audit or
Yes,
a
I'm
walkthrough or
interested.
something?
Yeah.
We want
because-
their email.
Yeah.
Okay, we get
because-
their email, so they say they're interested in this, and
Yeah.
at that
Okay.
point, at the Harvest Festival, they're interested,
Okay,
and then we close the deal at the
okay.
button up.
So what are
Lock
the
the doors.
5 regional workshops for communities?
I asked Paul about that today. I said, can we do one in Bristol? He waffled a bit. He said, there's one in Chittenden County. So I still have to work on him on
Okay.
that, so we'll see.
that was the training thing you're talking about?
No, that was one of the regional workshops.
Oh.
There are going to be 5 of those around Vermont. I'm trying to entice him to do one here, but
And the workshop is just telling us all of the programs and stuff like that?
I'm not clear
Okay.
exactly what it is.
Okay.
you know.
Can I-
But it's
can I
something we
suggest
should know.
something here? If in fact you can't organize with Paul, I would imagine that Dwight Coster would be his co-equal, and Dwight would probably be happy to come down. So that's an option as well.
Okay.
Community partners hold kickoff conferences, so that's our event.
that's our event.
Okay. Sign up for free walkthrough visits concludes, okay, that's good. Contractors conduct walkthroughs and submit reports. Yep. Okay, follow up with residents who receive energy assessment scope, okay. And then deadline for home to commit to project and enter enterprise during, okay.
Why is there a conclusion of time to sign up for doing something?
For free ones.
I think because of the program, right?
Yeah.
It has a limited time frame.
Yeah. And these are the free ones, as Sally
Yeah.
said. I'm assuming that's why.
Yeah, I mean, that, usually it costs a fair bit to have it done, so this is a chance where people could actually set up a call. Sign up for one for free, right?
Well, it's a walk, I mean, this is kind of an abbreviated thing.
Okay, it's a walkthrough, not an audit.
Right.
Right,
I mean,
okay.
I charged $500 to do an energy audit.
Yeah,
I think the average is 4. And the statewide average is 400.
And what's the difference between the walkthrough and I mean, I know that what the difference is obviously the amount of detail, but is the walkthrough, is it still a useful thing? I mean, if we're offering this free
In
walkthrough.
the right hands, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, the walkthrough. I've seen notes from walkthroughs that would allow me to go into a house and do the job.
okay,
yeah,
okay.
that's great.
Good.
So you don't necessarily need to
Blower
rely
door?
on a full audit.
In a walkthrough?
You do that when you show up to do the work.
Yeah, good.
And you test in,
There you
you
are.
test during,
Excellent.
you test out.
Good,
So-
good. Excellent.
There's no blower door or anything during the free walkthrough.
No, really you're just gathering like square footage, and fuel use,
Good.
volume.
What the insulation is
Yeah.
currently
Tells you a
there.
lot.
Right,
Yeah.
and you're not really doing heat loss calculations, you're not
Okay,
doing the math.
Somebody like you doesn't need to. I mean, you can look at it, I'm sure, and know almost immediately what needs to be done.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
It's also kind of an icebreaker for people.
Mhm.
You know, they're not having to put out money, but they're having someone come into their house and look around, and they're getting a feel for how it feels to have someone come in and look around, and, it's kind of a way to ease people into it.
And again, once they start asking a couple of questions and get the right answers, and, I mean,
Yeah.
you can really educate. You get an opportunity. More is done at the kitchen table than at the computer, it's that kitchen table where you figure out what motivates, cold feet in the winter is.
Yeah, we had a moisture problem in the attic, so right away that
Right.
keyed the discussion,
Then you start getting into the building science and how it transcribes to different areas. And
Yeah, and you're helping people tackle things that have been a problem, and it feels good.
Yep.
You're talking to someone who's gonna be able to give you some ideas of what's going on in your home.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Is there going to be any information about how to finance? I mean, if you
Yes, totally. Yeah, there are a number of programs that are some good financing with either Vermont State Employees Credit Union or what is it? Is it Heat Saver or Heat? Something. There are a number of them,
Yeah.
and so that's what we need to have is that information readily available. And
Good, good.
that's going to be
It's all
harvest.
written up.
Yeah.
one of the credit unions, maybe it was Opportunities, at least one of the credit unions was talking to all the contractors when I was still doing that. And the contractors were actually essentially taking the applications for low interest loans for this. So I don't
You mean
know.
they were helping people do them and take them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So there was a financing package that the contractors are probably now more familiar with.
Yeah.
Well, that's
great.
So we're gonna have to
$50
talk to
right there.
whoever we get to do this button up. I'm gonna be wanting to talk to him before he does it, and I wanna go, but I'll find out
Yeah, that's good.
what's been going on with that. So I know at least one or two of the credit unions, they were actually getting quite aggressive about it.
Not VSECU.
Hmm?
VSECU.
They're really good. I've seen a couple of
hot.
presentations by them. They're really on it and offering a number of different packages to people.
Yeah,
If you contact them and they say, well, we could do something, we could actually, because I've had some good contact with VSECU and they're pretty rampant.
Yeah,
They're really to
yeah.
market their products.
Yeah, there's a woman, Fielder,
Lori
Lori
Fe-
Fielder.
Lori Fielder.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
the one who's
She
all over it.
would,
She's
she
great.
would go anywhere, anytime
Yeah.
to sell a heat pump.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
so financing is available.
yeah.
Good point.
And
Excellent point.
NeighborWorks, Heat Squad, aren't those two other
I think they have income
kind of things?
That's low income.
threshold.
Okay,
and so on,
yeah.
but
And
even
CVOEO,
that's
free
important.
weatherization.
We need to let people know that there is assistance available.
Yeah.
Yes. So something with CVOEO and the income guidelines,
Mhm.
so that you're not asking people how much money they make.
Right, they have it out there so
Yeah,
they can
it's
see
just
it.
sitting
Yeah,
there on a
that's-
piece of paper and
That's
they
great.
can say, well, maybe I should be calling them.
Hey, I just want to say, Patty just got her heat pump today installed. That's exciting, huh?
Who?
Patty right here. She
Yeah.
just got a heat
So
pump
use it
today.
as an air conditioner?
No. No, I have the doors open.
Okay.
Mostly for the heat. I also had my Smith and McLean do my basement and insulate the
Nice.
attic, and that has made a really big difference.
There we go. We do have another person right here, a model
Right.
citizen who was a case study.
So who'd you have do the heat
The
pump?
welcoming committee.
Jackman.
Good.
They're right across the street from me. I guess I gotta give them a call. Don't get much closer.
Sounds like they're transitioning, aren't they? Getting out of
Yep.
the oil business and more into installation.
I see that.
Yeah.
Be a smart move.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
That occurred.
This does, I don't know when we're ready to move on. I'll let you decide that.
I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah.
I was just
I mean,
thinking,
these ideas are gonna perk,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so-
we'll come to you with some
yeah.
good thoughts
Yep.
on the wow factor.
I was thinking we were talking about different, help with purchasing things, and that brings us to that Fred Baser Act 188 Local
Oh,
Investment
right.
Advisor Committee. I think that is something that we should apply for, that rolling loan for Bristol. I looked into it a little bit, but at some point, I'd like to look into it more and find a subgroup to work with on that. But we've got a lot going on, so maybe we should not overwhelm. Maybe I'll check into how soon we would have to get that going.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we really need to focus on this other stuff.
But I wasn't clear, was that,
That's the current budget year, I think, which means
That's
it
true, it is in the current.
has to
Yeah.
be spent by
That's right.
July.
Okay, then we
We
have
should,
to do it.
yeah, we should.
That's great. Well, maybe I'll find out more about what we need to do and then
Okay.
talk.
I'll be happy to work with you on that. We
Great,
could
excellent, yeah,
Send some emails back and forth.
okay.
Thank you.
Excellent, thanks, John.
What's next on our agenda?
At some point, there's the Vermont Energy Dashboard.
Oh, yeah. I didn't really get a chance to look at that.
Okay.
Did anyone else?
I did
Spend
look
some
at it a
time,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. They're really trying to get the data from the state so we can see if we're moving and how fast we're moving toward the 90% renewables by 2050. You know, it's just a catalog of what's going on in the state. And it's really helpful to kind of look and see what's going on in your town. It looks like nothing's going on in Bristol except the Lutz's house. Did you see that they said Lutz
Yeah,
instead of Butz
yeah.
For your house?
That's
Or-
funny, I didn't see that,
Okay.
I looked at it today. I'm still locked out, so.
Oh, maybe it's someone else. Maybe there is a
I think
Lutz.
it's someone else. It's
It
not
had
me.
similar things to what you've talked about.
But it's inaccurate
Because we know so many people who have done things that aren't on that. The list is very, very paltry. So I think one of the things at the Harvest Festival is a handout and an urge, go on the dashboard and enter your stuff, and maybe Front Porch Forum too.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we look like a bunch of pikers and we're not.
Yeah.
We need to get some Bristol pride going, I think.
So. I'd be up for being involved in that too. All right.
Is there any other system that's doing what this is doing? Like if we focus energy on this, encourage people to sign up, we all sign up, we get the town signed up in whatever way. Is there then another system that another group is doing that we would do the same again, or is this kind of?
I think this is the main one.
This is statewide.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is big
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's talked about in this
Okay.
thing that we got last time, the last meeting, Energy Action
Yeah.
Network, and
Okay.
they really talk about it being, it's Vermont's go-to resource to help towns, businesses, and individuals take action to help us meet our 90% renewable goals and to track our collective progress along the way.
Okay.
It is the,
Okay.
it's a the thing.
Good. Well, that's nice. That's yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would just be one.
Yeah,
We could
totally.
just plug everything into
Yeah.
and build that list.
Yeah.
Is it the same one that has all the solar sightings that are automatically added, or is that another one?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll take.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I want to see if
It
I.
says, there's a map, you can map existing and possible new renewable energy sites and
Okay.
keep
So
track
that,
of
that should
local
include
projects.
solar. So the ones we did, like the co-housing, it's not on there.
Right.
So we should
Yeah,
maybe talk to Jim.
talk to Jim, yeah.
Think about that. Public forum.
What's that?
Public forum.
Public forum.
Are we on to public forum in terms of our agenda? Or
Oh, public forum, are there
Are
any
there any
questions?
citizens here?
we have one citizen here?
Yeah.
Well, two, if we include Mary.
Yeah, does anyone want to, anyone have any questions or things they want to talk about from the public?
So just before you go, let me show you this.
There's the map of Vermont,
Yeah.
and it's really easy. You just click on Bristol. You go in and click on Bristol and it comes up.
Okay.
But you can click on any community to get a comparison, so it is statewide.
Have you been comparing other communities?
Yeah.
And that's how you know that Bristol's not doing too well?
Well, nobody is.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why we're behind, or we're 16% or whatever
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
More than we should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
So
was
is there
that started?
another town around that's the same size as Bristol that we could goad into a competition?
That's what we should, I think we need to
Well,
do
yeah, I mean,
that.
it would be the 5 town, right? I mean, if we could do that.
Yeah, it'd be fun to have a gathering with the 5 town and just say, hey, how are we gonna
Yeah.
spur each other on? What ideas do you have to get your town to sign up?
Are there energy committees, I wonder, in the
Yeah.
other towns?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are.
everybody's got one now.
Yeah, we ought to challenge. I didn't know if they all had them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Some do and some don't. Some
Yeah,
are
some
just,
don't.
some are a single person.
so we can
sort
check
of, yeah.
VCAN and get that information.
Yes.
Okay.
Public forum.
When did that dashboard begin or start?
It
There's
hasn't been around too long, I don't think.
I don't know.
Probably within the last 6 years.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, it just has one page, but if we were online, we could look it up.
Yeah.
Doesn't really say when it started.
and individuals are responsible for entering their own information.
Correct.
But how are they supposed to know to do that?
That's it, that's what we
We
need to
have
do
to
Hand out a
is,
little
Yeah.
flyer with that.
Oh, okay.
information.
Just
said that,
Yeah.
yeah.
And hopefully have all of us be good citizens and participate in it, so you can search. I think I'm in there with my heat pump that I put in 11 years ago. And so it's just a matter of us to sort of start recognizing who, I mean, it would be us, and then it would be immediate neighbors who you know might have done things, and then sort of the larger community. And maybe we just start putting together a list of who we should suggest. Some of them are already on there. I mean, for some reason you're locked out. So do we need to fix
That's
that?
really
They
weird.
need to fix that.
Yeah, I haven't had time to
And I don't
fix
know if others are on there that you can then claim. I've seen a couple like that where it's like, hey, is this you? And I don't know where that information, how it got on there initially. It might have been part of the installation, part of something with the state when you got rebates back
Yeah.
when you did that.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember putting my ground source heat pump on there, but it could be because we got rebates when we built that system in 2007. So, but you can go in and you can say, oh, is this you? And then you can click to be able to access that. But if you've done new renovations, it probably won't be on there, and so then you should be able to just go in and I think it divides it by parcel, so you can just find your parcel and then add in the details.
What is this program called?
It's the Community Energy Dashboard. What's the?
It's actually vtenergy-board.org. vtenergy-dashboard.org.
I'll send an email.
Just looking to see if there's any.
That's the first I've ever heard of it.
It has our population is 3,918.
That's pretty close.
And it's anyone that's had anything energy saving
Correct.
focused.
Yeah, and you can add in, and it has a whole list of what you can pick and choose if what you've had done. Mary?
What is VPER?
VPER?
Is that connected with this?
Well, Vermont Public Interest Research Group.
They come around
Yeah.
every year. And
Right.
they're very nice, and
Yeah.
I say thank you for coming around again.
Yeah.
And I just wondered what you think. Second question, who would I call if I wanted to do a walkthrough? This is very exciting to me, sitting here
Yeah.
watching and listening, so I'm thinking, yes. And I live in Lincoln, not Bristol.
That's
so-
fine.
You have to go to a button-up presentation.
But yeah, what would she do really if she thought, who could I call? How do you start that? Do you call Efficiency Vermont or do you call?
It would be Efficiency Vermont, or go through one of the button-up presentations and the
But
one we're
immediately,
talking
if I
about.
wanted to call tomorrow, somebody.
Yeah, it's a good question.
So efficiency.
Efficiency Vermont,
Efficiency
probably,
Vermont,
yeah.
yeah.
And, yeah,
Okay.
You know, and if that, you could just go to the Efficiency Vermont site and get the list of contractors and
Yeah.
call them all up and see which one wants to come out. I mean, they're gonna charge you for an energy audit. I have no idea what they would, if they're offering it as, you know, I'm sure they would love to come into your house and talk to you about it.
Yeah.
If you wait for this program, you can get a free walkthrough. And then decide if you want to do the full Monty, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the advantage of, so there's this program which is on the individual level. We're doing it as part of the Energy Committee as a hero level, and that sort of gets us the access to the free walkthroughs via contractors. You know, because
I see.
they're working with a group of contractors saying, hey, we're doing this program. It runs for 12 months. If you sign up, you know, you're involved in doing free walkthroughs for people, but the likelihood that a good percentage of those houses might agree to then do the work, and then you're agreeing to do that work with that contractor. So that's it's sort of a win-win situation. Like, they can sign up if they do a walkthrough and it's free. At least they're just making those connections versus an individual like you happening to call them and saying, hey, I need a walkthrough, hey, I'd like to do the work. They're connected with hopefully a lot more people, and it's up to us to find those people.
So would they have a relationship with Sun Common? I mean, if solar's part of this, and
Depends on the contractor. So some contractors will have their own.
I've had them come to my house
Yeah.
and assess in terms of
This
solar.
could be
panels on my
a
barn.
unique test case for us, because you are now asking Bristol Energy Committee to help you make the connections to the whatever. Is there someone here who would like to volunteer and be your handholder?
Totally, yeah. That's great.
Well, I can make the calls. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then-
I'm pretty good at that.
That's
Very
great. Yeah. She's more technical savvy than probably most of us here in this room.
You can contact,
But thinking of the Energy Committee and that being a function of the Energy Committee.
Right.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Just in general, what you're doing.
That's what we hope to do, is
Yeah.
lead people through the maze.
Right.
Right.
And if you have any questions about the contractors or any proposals you get or anything, I'd be happy to look at it too.
There he is, he's a volunteer.
That's great.
Thank you.
Trade
And
emails and you're
And,
halfway there.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's a
very-
solar guy in the room
Yes,
too.
there's
Yeah.
Dave's a solar
Bristol
guy.
Energy.
Right.
electric.
We've got a
Yeah.
lot of varied talents in here.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, you and I are gonna have to have a conversation too. We've got all this south-facing roof.
We
Awesome.
can save your shingles. They can last forever.
Cover the whole roof.
Do you want to talk about what we spoke about earlier? Since it's in the public discussion now? Do you want to be the public?
Right, I'm public. I'm not sure if that's what I want to talk about now.
Okay.
You think?
I mean, we're going to
Well-
know about it later on, so
Okay.
it's your choice if you
Small
want
town.
to discuss it. Right.
Small
Discuss
town.
it now.
Okay.
It sounds more ominous than it really is.
Yeah, right,
Well, now
right.
you gotta
It
talk
sounds,
about it.
it sounds really.
Sounds
I
like a
know.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
You gotta say what it is.
Okay,
now.
you're right. Okay.
The
So,
thought there is going out.
I know.
Yeah, right, right.
We could lose power at any moment.
right. So, some community members have been still unresolved about the fact that we didn't get a vote on the gas pipeline that has been agreed upon by the select board. And we talked to Jim about it, and he said, oh, you really should be able to have a vote. There's a law or the statute that says you deserve a vote if there's a conveyance of real estate. So, there's a possibility of getting that vote, And so.
It hasn't been signed.
It has been signed.
It has been
So
signed.
what Jim did is he sent a letter to the select board before it was signed and said, hey, just want to say that this is statute, you really need to do this. Are you going to give notice to the town so they will have a chance to petition if they want to have a vote in 30 days, get those? Or are you going to just give them a vote, a special meeting, a vote? And, so he served that letter to them about that. And then they looked at it, I guess, at their meeting and said they would talk to their lawyer. And I think their lawyer said, no, you don't have to bother with that. And so they said, fine, we'll just sign. And so they just signed on the 23rd. And so then Jim said, okay, well, I believe this is really true, that this is the law. You need to do this, or they need to do this. So he wrote up a thing and filed it with the court last Thursday, and got a docket number, and then today served it to the town and Vermont Gas Systems. And there are 37 or 39 plaintiffs on there who have said they really feel, really feel like they want their vote heard, or they want a vote on this. And so some press releases went out today to about 10 different papers in the area. And so that's where it's at right now. So that's,
Will it come up on the select board agenda next week?
I have no idea. That is their choice, I think. I imagine that they will. I don't know.
I would think it would.
They would. It seems
I-
like
I
they would
don't-
need to
they
talk
have to
about
address it.
If they've been served papers, I think
Yeah.
it would come
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I would hope.
Yeah. Right.
So this is sort of, this is outside of the initial petition that was done regarding the gas systems and for a non-binding vote. So that's what initially was asked for, that was turned down. And this is now, if Jim is correct in his assumption about the real estate aspect of it, this would be a binding
vote, right.
because there'd be no point in doing it.
Right.
I was at the meeting, or I looked at the tape actually, for the letter that he initially sent regarding this, saying, hey, I think this is what you're dealing with. I think you need to look at this seriously. They sent it to the lawyers, and the lawyers said no. And they were like, okay, we'll sign. And so it didn't seem that, Jim's, I've been on an email chain about this back and forth. Jim said, it's obviously a lot of this is up to who's interpreting it. Jim can interpret it one way, another lawyer can interpret it another way. And it's how far you want to go with that in court and what the court will decide. So I don't know what this means in terms of what the systems. I mean, if you're driving on the roads, you'll see the gas going in, like it's literally on the edge of Bristol. And so with this, I don't know what it means. I mean, it seems like there's a possibility that it would actually end there if the town was forced to do a vote and people voted not to have the system come to town, and it was a binding vote. The select board doesn't have the power to go against that, I believe. I mean, that's the point of the binding vote, so we'll see. But I don't know how long this would take then. I mean, does it get sent? It could get sent back to the lawyer, and the lawyer again says, nope, what he's saying is incorrect. What you did was right, and then I guess it then goes to court.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't even know how. I don't know what goes on at all. Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is can I read a little bit of the press release?
Oh yeah.
So it's Attorney James Dumont representing the plaintiffs. He explains the Vermont legislature adopted a law forbidding any select board from entering into this type of agreement without first formally issuing a notice to the public of their right to petition for a binding vote. After being notified of this duty, the select board instead chose to immediately sign with VGS. Superior Court action has been filed to carry out the legislature's intent that the public be given an opportunity to vote. So, I don't know. It's kind of, and it used, part of his argument with filing the complaint was, he's talking about damage and things like that, safety, but also he addresses stuff that I've addressed previously, which is that it's in the town plan to discuss energy infrastructure updates, that the select board should be working with the energy committee to do that, and never did.
Right.
And it's
Right.
part of our town plan that should be discussed, and it obviously wasn't. So, but it's up to if it goes to court, it's up to the court and a jury or whatever
I think the judge just does.
to look at that and read that and see what that means.
Yeah.
And Vermont Gas is pretty big, and they're in a lot of towns, and so it could be seen as a small thing that could be overturned or thrown out or whatever, or it could be seen as a thing that we do have the right, and then it goes to vote, and then of course you have the issue. It could be voted on, and people could want it still.
Which
but
is likely.
This
Right.
could last,
Yeah.
this could last a month or
right.
Yeah.
2 years,
Yeah.
Okay.
or 5 years.
So it's something that we need to be aware of and keep an eye on to see what actually happens, and because it'll partly affect how we talk to people in Bristol about certain energy uses,
Well, I would think our position as an energy committee and the button up and so on is going to be present all the options,
Right,
you know, at this point. Because that's sort of a separate
yeah.
issue.
Well, I guess I was thinking of if people asked us about, oh, we heard the gas is coming, yes, this has been signed. Is it something that we mentioned that, oh, there is this other thing happening? Is that something that we're obligated to tell people if we have that information? What does that do in a
I think it's
situation?
gonna be out. It's
Press
gonna be-
releases have been made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be in the paper.
So you
It's
gotta
not gonna be
say
a
we
quiet
don't know.
little background thing.
I'd say refer to the select board.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they made the decision in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Let
if
them
the,
squirm.
if the Berlin, or if the Bristol Energy Committee were to be asked their position on Vermont gas, should we come up with that answer or not?
I don't think we should have a position on stuff except for what our mission in what Bristol Energy Commission mission is. We
Which-
should read the mission and what is our
Which is,
mission.
it's kind of in there.
I agree. It should relate to the town plan.
Right.
Yeah,
Our-
we're-
our-
our
Our position
duty and
is
our
to
position is in the
advance
town
the
plan.
town
Right, our
plan.
duty, our position,
And
our
the
mission
town plan is renewables, is pushing
is,
towards.
yeah,
It's
is to
renewables
get
and
away from
efficiency and
fossil fuels.
conservation
Yeah,
and safety and a lot of things like that.
right.
So
As far as
pipeline,
infrastructure goes.
pipeline fossil fuel infrastructure would be a no.
It's not consistent with the state's
That's
Right.
contrary to the
90% by
town plan.
2050.
Which was the argument that we were using,
Yeah.
or that I was using initially, when this whole thing came about in terms of doing the petition. It's like, that's what we looked at, that's what we were recommended to look at, but it wasn't enough.
I mean, my gut tells me that we should just stay out of it, but the reality is, I'm not so sure that's right. I wonder if we should dig in and take that
Oh,
mission
I see.
seriously and
Well,
develop a stance.
You kind of made it simplified a little bit. The town plan says what it says.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we can say we support renewables, we support net zero, that kind of thing, which that then gives the answer to
Yeah.
most people. I mean, it's tough, and we've talked about this before in terms of what, regardless of putting in the infrastructure, regardless of the company involved, what gas does do in certain areas in terms of cost and in terms of performance versus other fuels. And if you took away, if you stripped all environmental issues or safety issues away, it's comparable or better than other fuels. But then when you start to add those pieces back in, which we should be doing looking at the whole picture, then it starts to get a little bit grayer. It's not a black and white sort of issue that we're looking at. But everything is moving to, I mean, we can all look at the town plan and also look at what Vermont is trying to do. And it's still a fossil fuel. And so it's,
yeah, I mean,
You'll probably get contacted by a reporter. I wouldn't.
coming.
Yeah, I would think so, and I think that answer
yeah.
would, our position is consistent with the town plan, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot better
Easy
than I don't
escape.
recall.
Yeah,
Yeah. What's gas?
I
Yeah.
think it also, as we've learned through some of our things, Markowitz and people who've been here around renewables, it's not necessarily economically better in the long run.
Right.
When you go with efficiency and renewables, you bring your costs down, and then you don't have that fossil fuel bill down the future once you. So it's really important not to tell people that gas is cheaper, and the only thing is there are environmental problems. It's economical problems with fossil fuel too. And I think we need to be clear about that, or not necessarily as a Bristol Energy Committee saying that with people, but being aware of that, efficiency and renewables lowers your price, and
Forever.
forever. Whereas gas is going to continue to go up. You know, you drop off when you have renewables and efficiency after 8 or
So-
10 or 12 years that you've paid back your equipment.
You can
So in
ask,
terms of a statement, though, the first part of what you said probably is what we should say. The efficiency for renewables lasts forever,
Yeah.
and then not the rest of it,
Oh,
because somebody will say, well, substantiate that,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah,
So we want to talk about,
yeah,
I think, without
yeah.
getting into a challenge to
Yeah.
natural gas at this point.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it is really important that we don't, you know, talk to the public about what they should do and shouldn't do or any of that stuff. We're just about,
Right.
we're here to help you
Information.
move toward efficiency and renewables and, you know, that kind of thing.
And
That's what our job is.
stay away from the negative.
Yeah,
you can
definitely.
always respond by asking if they're enjoying the swings in severe weather. That's only begun.
That's right.
Ask your children.
Yeah.
Now we're getting really dark.
Well, I think,
Now that we're all depressed.
no, I think it'd be great if we just stick with, like, we've got great programs, we have
Yeah.
great things to offer. We just need to stay with doing that and not a lot of, you know, mucking around with
We're
telling
showing
anyone what they should
positive
do.
alternatives.
Just
Yeah.
offer the things that are gonna be really helpful.
And there's a lot out there. You can have, you know, efficiency work done for free. You can finance it. You
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
you know, or just bite the bullet and spend it
So who's
now.
paying Jim Dumont's bill to this?
What's that?
Who's paying Jim Dumont's bill to?
We just sent a bill to your house, I think.
No, we just sent him a big bill. A real big bill. It covers his burn with solar.
Oh, that's great.
It's volunteer contributions. Is that what he agreed on?
Yeah, volunteer contributions.
Who's collecting? I asked who's.
We would love to have a little group that was focused on that, and Patty has started being, you know, like exploring what ways can work, and it'd be great to have a couple more people so that basically anyone can write a check to Jim Dumont and bring it over or send it over there to help with this effort.
Okay.
So that is definitely, and we've been looking into if there's a way to get a tax deducted, you know, get a tax deduction on your contribution. And that could be through Peace and Justice Center, but there's some hoops to go through to do that. So it's easier, if you don't mind, just send a check to those guys and it's perfect, you know.
Do a GoFundMe.
Oh yeah, so that's what we need, is some people who know how to do that. If we had a little subgroup, another subgroup,
I don't know how to do it.
okay, yeah.
I-
But if we found someone who
Contributed to
had
some.
that, but that's not really Bristol Energy Committee work right now.
No.
That's outside of the realm of
We
this
can all talk.
group.
I think it's probably only fair to indicate that I have signed on to that petition, which might impact whether you want to nominate me to the select board right now. And I'm perfectly comfortable
Okay.
remaining as an advisor right now, so that's fine. And doing the work, I don't, you know, whatever, but it might be.
You're anti-gas line. Is that what you're saying?
I am pro citizens having the right to express themselves.
Yeah, that's the bottom line here.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a democracy issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big,
That's democracy.
Good answer.
it's a huge, huge project in this town, and we haven't had sufficient
Right.
ability to weigh in,
Well, it's a pattern.
or even an idea of exactly what the community wants.
It's a pattern across,
Probably every state, every select board, and it needs to change, and it's gonna take some things like this to change it, I think, so.